Welcome back, everyone. For today's video, we are going to be taking a look at round number 8 of Norway chess being held here in Stavanger. Now, after a couple very quick draws, today we're back and we're in the home stretch of the tournament where I have two whites in a row against Gukesh and Arjun before I close out the tournament with black against Wei Yi. So as such, if I want to have a chance to try and win this tournament, I need to start putting pressure on my opponents when I have the white pieces. So 8th round, white piece against Gukesh, and I decide to play the move e4. We get e5, knight f3, knight c6, and now I go for one of my childhood favorites, which is the Scotch opening with pawn to d4. Gukesh trades, and now he plays move knight f6. In the recent Grand Chess Tour event, I believe in Romania, Gukesh played the move bishop to c5 against the Frenchman Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, and he got crushed. As such, I was not super surprised to see Gukesh switch it up and play the move knight f6, but definitely I was a bit disappointed as I didn't have a great idea. So I go knight c3. We got bishop b4, takes, bishop d3, castles, d5, and now I take the pawn on d5. Now I have played the Scotch 4 knights with some success in recent years. I beat Fabiano Caruana in the Isle of Man in 2023 in a very, very critical game. That being said, if your opponent is ready for this setup, you usually don't get a lot of play. Now here Gukesh plays the move bishop g4. This is considered to be the most forcing variation. After pawn takes pawn and a move like h3, the game goes on, but in general, black will have to find some resources. So we get bishop g4. I play f3, bishop h5, bishop g5, and now Gukesh takes the pawn on d5. Now, all of this has been seen in top-level play. As I mentioned in the confessional booth during the game, this position, which we reach in the game here after queen to e5 and queen d6, was played in the 2024 candidates where Gukesh was participating. Of course, he would eventually win the tournament, so I expected him to be familiar with this game between Nepo and Fabiano. So I go knight e7, king h8, queen to e2, and this is where Gukesh spends 30 minutes before playing the move rook a b8. Now I suspect that Gukesh knew this position is completely equal, and he just sort of saw a ghost here. He thought that after the best move, bishop g6, which was played in the game between Fabiano and Nepo, that after takes in this position, Black's king maybe could be a little bit weak here. These pawns are a little bit soft. They're opposite color bishops here. Maybe white could be better. Computer doesn't think it's anything special after queen f6, but when Gukesh spent 30 minutes before playing this move rook a to b8, I knew that he was a little bit uncomfortable. So after rook b8, I go queen to e4, lining up the double A battery. If black were to take the rook, there's queen h7 checkmate, and it's GG, why not? Gukesh plays bishop g6. I take the bishop, and now Gukesh decides to play this move f takes g6. Now, this move is a huge mistake, and I'm going to be honest. When I saw this move at the board, I did not understand what on earth Gukesh was thinking. Now, what I think happened for Gukesh in this game is that he simply missed my idea, regardless of how he captures a knight. If he were to capture the h-pawn, I'm going to go g3 and king g2 here with the idea of h4 and h5 to try and attack on the diagonal. But when Gukesh takes with the f-pawn, I think he just missed this g3 concept altogether, because once I trade the rooks and go g3, black is in all kinds of trouble, primarily because you cannot mobilize these pawns. If you ever push this one, you get mated. If you push this one, you hang the pawn, which means these pawns are frozen out of the game on the diagonal, and that also means that I have ideas like h4 and h5, just to give you guys a sample line, just setting up the position, where I attack the pawns here. Additionally, there are also threats with queen to e8 and an ice skater checkmate, as black can never create the lift for the king, as you would hang the pawn. So in general, this whole position after g3 is simply bad, and I spoke to my second, Chris Littlejohn, after the game, and he said that according to the computers, this is actually technically lost for black due to this very, very bad pawn structure on the king side. So Gukesh plays the move rook f8, I go king g2, we get bishop b6, and now I play the move h4, trying to play h5 and launching the assault on the king side. Gukesh plays queen c5, and now I play the move f4. Now, after I go f4, I've basically gotten rid of any potential weaknesses on the king side here. The pawns are very stable. I can look to play h5. I can look to play on the e file. But most importantly, this is a dream. There is no counterplay for black. It's one-way traffic. I can never lose the game, and all I'm going to do is enjoy the big time advantage, enjoy the moment, and try to put pressure on my young opponent. So Gukesh plays the move queen f5, and this is where I spent a lot of time before playing the move queen to c4. Initially in this position, I wanted to trade the queens and take the juicer, because if black were to capture the bishop, there's rook e8, and you get the classic ice skater checkmate. The king has no squares available. But I decided against this primarily because after g6, bishop d3, and rook f7, white has an extra pawn, and white probably should be winning technically, but due to the opposite color bishops in this position and the fact that Gukesh will be able to play a lot of moves very quickly, I wasn't so convinced that I should go for this, because even if it's technically winning, Gukesh will never suffer on the clock. And that's why I play the move queen c4, because even though I don't take the free pawn, Gukesh will now have to find more moves. There's no straight setup in order to try and defend the position, and it's just miserable to play. So Gukesh goes queen f6. Now I play the move rook to e5, creating this great outpost for the rook. It can swing in any direction here. It's supported by the pawn chain, and already at this moment, I had a feeling that I should be winning the game. So Gukesh plays queen d6. Now I play the move c3, and this is a move that I wasn't sure if I should play. I really didn't know what I was aiming for in this game, because one of the lines that I saw was something like queen e4, takes, rook d5, bishop b6, and after something like rook d7, I have this nice kebab on the 7th rank, but I wasn't 100% sure if this was winning by force. Now, computer thinks it's winning, and probably I would have won this if it had occurred in the game, but without being 100% sure, I don't want to go into an endgame where Gukesh can simply create a setup and wait forever. So I go c3, taking away the d4 and c5 squares from the queen and the bishop here. And now we get to move queen a3. I play king h3, we get queen d6, and here I do a little bit of a dilly-dally. I play a repetition twice before playing this move queen e4. The reason for this is that I spent a ton of time trying to make this h5 move work, but after queen c1 with the infiltration with the bishop and the queen here, I wasn't sure if this was going to be a clean win. Now, computer, of course, laughs. It says you can take, and after check, king f3, check, king g4, the white king is very safe here. But again, without knowing, why do I want to put my king in a precarious situation where if I miss a move, I might lose the game? So I do the dilly-dally repetition, and then I play queen to e4 back, lining up the double stack, but also the double A battery on the file. We get to move bishop c5 from Gukesh. Gukesh understands here that this bishop looks really nice guarding the pawns, but it's on the wrong side of the board. What black ideally wants is something like this, where the bishop is near the rook, guarding everything. If the bishop is all the way on b6 here, it's guarding the pawns, but it's not doing a whole lot else because there's nothing on this diagonal. So Gukesh plays the move bishop c5, I play king g2, we do more repetitions here, and I decide to play the move h5, trying to launch the attack on the king side. So I play this move h5 here, trying to rip open the king side. Gukesh plays queen d7, and now I play the move king g2. We get the move bishop d6, and here I play the move rook to e6. Now here black is in a lot of trouble because these pawns are finally being removed. I'm attacking with the queen, the bishop, the rook, and the pawn. But most importantly, because of the opposite color bishops, all my pieces here, you'll notice, are on light squares, so the bishop and the rook cannot attack anything. Now, one point I want to make is that if I were to play a move like rook a5, which initially I thought about for a second, this would be a huge mistake here because black can sack the bishop by taking the pawn, and now after pawn takes bishop, queen g4, the game ends in a draw because if I move the king to the f file, I lose the pawn and the queen. And if I go this way, black simply just checks forever on these two squares, and there's nothing I can do. So of course I play rook e6, trying to use the rook, the queen, and the bishop on all the light squares. We get rook f6, and now I play the move rook e8. Here Gukesh plays bishop f8, and this is a move that really surprised me, if I'm being honest. I thought he would play rook to f8 here, trying to go for this endgame. It's still very, very bad for black after h6 and queen to a8, queen d6, and something like bishop to c4. But I thought he would go for this because he can at least try to wait forever with the queen and the bishop. Instead, Gukesh blocks with the bishop, and now I go queen to a8, lining up the double stack on the 8th rank here, attacking the bishop and the king. Gukesh plays queen d6, trying to guard against the checkmate, and now I play rook d8, and I decide to take the pawn. We get takes, and here I play the move queen c8. Very important moment here is that when Gukesh tries to hang on to the material here, this pawn structure ultimately is going to doom him, because now the h file is open, the bishop can attack on the other diagonal, and with all this harmony of the queen, the rook, and the bishop, there's just not a lot that black can do to save the game. So Gukesh plays the move queen c5. Now here, I thought about playing a move like queen h3, but after queen to h5, black is still trying to hang on here. It's not so easy to win. If I were to trade the queens, all of a sudden this position is good, but black will fight on with king g8, g6, and king g7, and the show goes on. So I play the move bishop to e4. Now this is another excellent move here because black does not have any moves. The rook, the queen. They're both tied down to this bishop, so when I play bishop e4, I'm preparing to maybe go queen h3, maybe bishop d5, but with the saved king on g2 that can never be attacked here, I have all day in the world, and I can just massage the position and slowly improve all my pieces. Now, the reason I played bishop e4 here is that one of the lines I considered was bishop takes pawn, but after queen c6, king to h2, and king g8, suddenly I have some issues with my king on h2. If I were to move the bishop, there's rook h6, and suddenly black is attacking very, very quickly with the classic 90-degree right triangle. So when I play the move bishop to e4, it's a very nuanced move, because what I'm doing here is I'm actually trying to induce Gukesh to play the move pawn c6, because now I can take the pawn, and without the square to check the king due to the pawn being here, black is simply cooked. There's no way to check because the rook covers the square, and without this important square for the queen, it's GG, why not? So bishop e4 is a very, very good move by me, trying to induce a c6 move to take away the check square for the queen. Gukesh decides ultimately to play the move g5 here. At this point, the game is already basically over regardless of what he does, but he's looking for some counterplay, so he lashes out with the move g5. Now, after g5, I simply gobble the pawn. This wooden shield bishop on e4 is really, really good. It protects my king. You might be thinking check. But after king to h3, this bishop can retreat to g2 against the queen f1 check. The pawn attacks the rook, and with the queen and the rook stacked up on the 8th rank, pinning this bishop, there's simply no hope for Gukesh. So he plays the move rook f7. Now I go g6, attacking the rook because my queen covers this square, bishop covers this square. For example, if black were to check, I block, and now black can check, but after the queen trade, it'll be similar to the game where I go g6, and with this bishop, king, and rook being pinned up like this, there's nothing you can do. So, Gukesh plays rook f7. Now I play the move g6, attacking the rook. He goes rook f6, and here I play the move queen g4, trying to set up the classic lobster pincer checkmate on h7 with the queen and the pawn. Sample, say black plays c5. I go queen h5 check, king g8, and now there's queen h7, simply checkmating the king on g8. There are no squares available. So Gukesh plays the move queen to f1. Now I will admit, when this happened in the game, I actually thought already that he was going to resign here, so I was mildly annoyed to see that he could continue fighting with queen f1, but luckily it doesn't matter because I blocked with the bishop. We get queen c1, and now I play the very, very important move queen to h4, not queen to h5, by the way, because after queen to h6 is apparently it's still winning after queen to h4, but say I were to trade, suddenly black's king gets in. I guess it's still probably winning after bishop e4 to be fair, but it doesn't end instantly. So I play queen to h4. Gukesh blocks, and now I play the crushing move bishop to d5, and here Gukesh resigns because basically I've put all of his pieces in the box. The rook is stuck guarding the bishop forever due to this pin. The king can't get over because of the bishop, and what's going to happen after takes, and say a6 is I go bishop to f7, locking the pawn and the bishop in dubstep, and now I attack the bishop, and black can sack the rook and play for a few more moves, but of course I'm going to queen and checkmate. And if black doesn't sack the rook, it's simply going to be checkmate in 1 with rook takes f8, where the king gets stuck. So, after this move bishop to d5, Gukesh resigns this game, and I get a very, very big win in the 8th round. With this win and Fabiano Caruana's shocking loss to Arjun Erigaisi, I am suddenly only 1 point out of first place after 8 rounds. Now, this is definitely not what I was expecting considering the opening I got today and considering Fabiano's position, but it is what it is. And on another note, I would say that one thing I really believe in these days, not to be all philosophical or anything, is I think that everything happens for a reason. Now, when I look at this turn in my classical games, I really feel that when I look at the loss to Gukesh in round number 3, or the failure to win against Arjun in round number 6, I believe it was, or maybe it was round 5, that between those two games, I either should not have lost to Gukesh or I should have beaten Arjun. Instead, I lost to Gukesh and drew Arjun, and it feels like this game is really the luck evening out and everything sort of becoming right in the world. So I get the win. I'm 1 point out of first place. You're probably also wondering, why am I rushing this recap or talking so fast? The big reason for that is I'm, of course, going to be booting my stream up and streaming the titled Tuesday evening event on Twitch very shortly. So if you guys felt it was a little bit premature in terms of the opening or rushing to move 20, I do apologize, but streaming is calling my name and I have to get back to my actual job once again. So, on that note, I hope you guys have enjoyed this recap from round number 8 of the Norway Chess Tournament being held here in Stavanger. If you are not already subscribed to the channel, make sure that you smash that subscribe button below, and we will be back with another recap after round number 9. Tomorrow will be a rest day, but after tomorrow, we'll be back with a recap after round number 9 when I play with the white pieces against another talented Indian player, Arjun Erigaisi. Hope you guys enjoyed this recap. Have a great rest of your evening, and I'll see you on the stream very soon. Keep it real. Bye.